Hi, yes, I am. Thank you very much, Karen. And really, this is a great privilege to be sharing this amazing event and hearing some of the fantastic things that are going on in the university. And certainly sharing the bill with Pumpy the Elephant has been a career highlight for me. And just to share with you that, I am part of the alumni community. I did my law degree at the Open University quite some time ago. I was just working out just how long ago it was, and it is quite a scary thought how long ago it was. But I've been really privileged to help develop the Open University's law school, and in particular working with a great colleague, my co-director, Francine Ryan, to develop the Open Justice Centre. And we've been working on this project for the last 5 years, and we'd just like to share with you some of the things that we've been up to and the purpose of it. So the rationale, for any of you who've been involved in any form of legal dispute, you'll be fully aware that the law isn't a very forgiving institution in some ways. It's quite a difficult process to navigate if you have a legal problem. It sometimes can be fairly confusing, and also it can be quite an expensive process to navigate the court system. So what we wanted to do is take the mission of the Open University, which, as Tim Blackman reminded us in the opening video, is to be open to people, places, methods and ideas. And for us, we wanted to take that mission and think about how the law school itself could put that into practice. What we wanted to do is leverage the expertise, the enthusiasm and the knowledge of the academics in the law school, but also the students within the law school to engage in public good activities, legal activities for the public good in our communities. Now, we're privileged to work in a 4-nation university, so we've developed a number of pro bono partnerships with schools, prisons, legal charities and courts across the United Kingdom. And we've really been delighted at how our students have responded to this opportunity to use their legal knowledge in a way that supports people in giving them free legal advice, guidance and information. Now, as we've seen today, we're using technology to communicate with a very wide group of people from across the world as part of the OU family. So when we decided to develop this project, we knew that we would have to use innovative approaches to technology to be able to allow our students to engage in these kind of activities. So I'm going to hand over to my co-director, Dr. Francine Ryan, to talk a bit about how we've used technology to try and deliver this mission of providing legal information, advice and guidance to support access to justice.
Thanks very much, Hugh. It's an absolute privilege to be able to speak to you today. On the slide that's about to come up now, it's just some of the examples of the projects that we've been involved in. And so within the Open Justice Centre, we've created opportunities afforded by using digital technologies to deliver practical legal activities that our students can get involved in. So it's all about getting our students involved, using technology to deliver online pro bono legal projects. And that was a real challenge for us because we are remote, we are geographically dispersed, and we didn't want to dilute the essence of those pro bono projects that students at other universities would be able to access through traditional face-to-face events. So we wanted to work really, really hard to develop a series of innovative practical legal activities where students would collaborate online to deliver legal information and advice to support access to justice. So over the next few minutes, I'm just going to take you through some of the projects that our students can get involved in, which are helping them not only deliver access to justice, but we also hope to develop their employability skills as well. So the first project that we have is the Open Justice Virtual Law Clinic. And that really replicates a virtual law firm. So students give legal advice to members of the public under supervision of qualified solicitors. So we use an advanced case management system called Clio, which is endorsed by the Law Society of England and Wales. And the Clio platform allows us to collaborate within our team and with our clients. So we find clients through our website, and I think there's going to be a link in the chat box to our website. Clients complete an online form and they tell us a little bit about their legal issue. We then triage those inquiries through our mailbox, and if they're suitable, then they go into our clinic. And we advise on a number of areas of law, including employment law, wills and probate, family, welfare law, environmental and consumer law. So once the case has been allocated to our clinic, our students conduct an online interview through web conferencing platform software such as Teams or Adobe Connect. Our students then go away, they research the issues, and then they prepare a detailed letter of advice. And students are working with qualified solicitors throughout this process. And all the advice is checked by the solicitors before it goes to the client. And what's really, I think, brilliant about our model is it's so flexible. So there are no physical or geographical barriers to participation. Anyone can access our clinic with an internet connection. And it also means that our students who are geographically dispersed can work together to provide legal advice to clients. So moving on, we also have the Freedom Law Clinic. And that's a really innovative project where students gain unparalleled access to criminal appeal cases, and they provide vital assistance to clients who cannot afford legal representation and otherwise would be denied access to justice. So in this project, students work on real criminal cases under the guidance of expert lawyers to research and prepare an application to the Criminal Cases Review Commission. As you might imagine, this is an incredibly popular project with our students. And what's really interesting about this project, it's delivered in partnership with the Freedom Law Clinic and a number of other universities. So our students not only get to work in teams within the Open University, but they also get to collaborate with students in other institutions, which I think is really interesting and opens our eyes as well to the potential for that online collaboration greater than the Open University. So moving on to online mediation, even before the pandemic, there was a growing interest in virtual mediation. The fact that we are virtual today and online, I think, represents these challenges. And lots of disputes can now be settled through an online meeting using video conference platforms such as Teams or through Zoom. And we're now finding that lawyers are increasingly retraining as mediators and using mediation in their practice. So for the past 3 years, we've been offering online mediation project to our students. And so they are trained by professional mediators in the skills and principles of mediation. As part of the project, they also conduct simulated mediations in pairs. So they go through the real experience of delivering a mediation. And in the future, we'd really like to explore the opportunities for our students to conduct mediations with live clients. And that's something that we're looking at currently. So moving on to our online policy clinic, that's quite a recent development for us. It started last year. And in this project, we really wanted to broaden the diversity of pro bono experiences that we're offering our students. So our online policy clinic is aimed at students who want to focus on law reform, want to develop their research and advocacy skills. So we take a brief from an organisation. Students go away and conduct desk-based research. Sometimes they also make freedom of information requests. And then they work together in groups to prepare a detailed report for the organisation that not only provides research on the issues, but also provides recommendations and future actions. In the first year of the project, our students received a brief from Just Rights Scotland, which is a human rights charity based up in Scotland. And that was to help them support their response to proposed legislation in the Scottish Parliament on female genital mutilation. So quite a tough and difficult project that our students were involved in, but a really, really valuable project. This year, our students have been working on 2 projects. One on environmental law with ELF, which is the Environmental Law Foundation, examining local authorities' response to climate change. And the second one, responding to the Law Commission's Weddings Project. And finally, we have our Digital Justice Project, which aims to allow students to experience the challenges of exploiting technology to provide legal help that can be developed through legal tech solutions. So we get students to create chatbots, which are conversational workflows that use AI technology built into the software to mimic human conversations. So it's like having a dialogue. So the chatbot, I'm sure you might be familiar with how those work. And we use a particular platform called Joseph, which our students use with a minimal amount of training to develop these chatbots. And we've provided legal information on areas of employment, family and housing law. And this is a really interesting insight for our students to look at how technology is changing the delivery of legal information and guidance. Looking to the future, we're in the process of developing a virtual reality courtroom, and this courtroom will be a 3D representation of a court, and students will take on the form of 3D human avatars, which will be tailored to their requirements. What's really exciting about this project is the students will be able to interact with others in the room via chat and speech functions. They'll be able to undertake court proceedings to develop their advocacy skills. But the other thing that's really significant about this project for us is that we want to be able to use it with partner organisations, particularly to help litigants in person, people who are representing themselves in court. So the virtual courtroom would be a way of helping and supporting them through a really difficult and challenging process. So I'm now going to pass back to Hugh, who's going to tell you a little bit about our work with partner organisations. So over to you, Hugh.
Thank you very much, Francine, for that overview. And yeah, so what I'd like just to finish off with is just to let you know how the foundation of our work, putting students in positions where they can support the public, has allowed us to develop partnerships, which mean that we can leverage the expertise that exists in the Open University to support civil society organisations. So I was really struck by Tim Plemming's discussion around micro-credentials, and I was amazed at the breadth and the scope of the work that's going on there. And what we've tried to do is, in a similar way, take the expertise around distance learning that you're all familiar with as alumni of the Open University, and put that to use for a number of different organisations. So you'll see a link in the chat box for you to be able to explore these. These are all free courses that you might find useful and interesting for your own purposes. The first of which was a practical guide to human rights and discrimination law, which was some work we did with a UK Federation of Advice Agencies called Advice UK, and that was funded by the Equality and Human Rights Commission. And the purpose of that piece of work was to help the advice sector, which is a sector, the free advice sector, doesn't have a huge amount of capacity or money for developing their own training. So we try to support them in that, to develop their ability to spot and deal with discrimination and human rights law issues of individuals who are seeking advice. So that was our first foray into this type of work. And on the basis of that, the success of that, we've developed a really interesting partnership with an English and Welsh charity called Support Through Court. And we have a partnership with them which involves putting our students in a position where they support people who are going through a civil proceedings in the English system and don't have access to advice or representation by a lawyer. So this can be quite a difficult process to face court alone, and so Support Through Court provide volunteers to support people, help orientate them around the court, to be with them as a form of support and guidance during the court process. And one of the things that the volunteers in Support Through Court were finding was they're having to deal with issues around domestic abuse. So they might be working with someone who's been accused of perpetrating domestic abuse, or someone who's an alleged victim of domestic abuse. And clearly, you know, a lot of thought, a lot of support needs to be given to volunteers who are dealing with this sensitive area. And so we work with Support Through Court to develop this online resource that is available to anyone working in this context. And that's been a successful project for us. And I think one of the key things to note about that is it allowed some of our students who are working as volunteers in that context to help develop that particular project. So it really was a collaboration between us as academics, students, and the third-party organisation. Very briefly, just to finish off, I'd like to let you know about some of the work we're doing with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime around some anti-corruption education work. And again, you can see that through clicking on the link. So be really happy to hear more from you. And if you advance to the last slide, I'll just finish off with there's our email address. So it'd be brilliant if you got in touch, let us know your thoughts about what we're up to, and it'd be great to hear from you. But thank you for your time, and thanks again for inviting us to take part in this event.